plus some videos that are surfacing of Justin Bieber at a Diddy party, and they are at the person that people are now putting the dots together in Kim Porter's allegations that Diddy had under his thumb was Justin Bieber, and that he may have done some inappropriate things with him. And what I will say is that this very much fits the narrative. You know, we saw tons of videos of Justin Bieber. When he got together with Hailey, he was crying a lot outside of churches. He was finding his way back to God, but he was having a lot of emotional breakdowns. And what I sensed from those public emotional breakdowns, and only public obviously because the press was following him, was that he was coming to terms with the fact that he had been engaged in darkness unwillingly. And Justin Bieber probably has a lot of shame about that. He probably feels shame, first and foremost, as a man, as a husband, and as someone who has successfully created a new life for himself with his wife, Hailey Bieber. And so what I want to say to Justin Bieber and to everybody that's following the situation is that Justin Bieber is a victim. I was horrified when I saw this.
It seems Diddy really saw Justin as an expendable toy.
But because I understood that this was a kid who was intentionally targeted by Diddy, as the videos show, told that he wants to party with him. He makes it clear that Diddy is trying to contact him through people. And then he finally subjects himself and agrees to give his number. And then we saw an entirely different Justin Bieber. We saw Justin Bieber who was always wearing sunglasses, who was partying, who was very obviously involved in drugs. He spoke at length about his addiction. And Justin Bieber didn't do that to himself. Like I said, Justin Bieber was, in my view, a child victim. And as these videos are circulating on the internet, I want to make sure people remember that and give him the grace as someone who has somehow survived this, turned to family, turned to faith, and is still very much struggling with all of this. For people to give him the grace and the courage and the prayers to hopefully one day find within himself the strength to speak out about what happened. Anyways, it seems to be that it is all falling down in Hollywood. There are tons of people who should be called out, people who weren't young like Justin Bieber.
But even worse are the allegations that Jaguar Wright brought forward. She has long alleged that Justin Bieber's story is a lot less star-studded, a lot less fairy tale than it's made out to be. In fact, the truth is truly disgusting, for it seems Usher willingly groomed Justin for Diddy in exchange for his success.
You said Justin Bieber, and I have to ask you because there's a picture circulating online where they show
He's
Justin.
the new Tevin Campbell.
Yeah, they show him crying. You're almost giving him a gateway to speak his truth of what happened to.
I wish Tevin Campbell would speak to him or for him. Because the same thing that they did to him, they're doing to Bieber right now. And I have evidence. That poor kid. And all because he got discovered by Usher. And then Usher took him right over there to the diddler. And let the good times roll.
Let the good times roll.
The last freak off tape that just got sold on the dark net, which I know because I monitor, went for $500 million. It had multiple stars in it. Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, Chris Brown.
And the story doesn't end there. Jaguar is pissed at Usher in particular.
Usher.
They talk about his.
Usher, I'm tired of Usher.
Oh.
Goofy bitch.
Oh.
Got your asshole ripped open and the only thing it inspired was loyalty?
Expressing his concerns for fellow artist Billie Eilish, especially given her young age and rapid rise in the music industry. Justin, who was signed to Usher's label at a young age, has often spoken about the challenges of growing up in the spotlight. In a 2020 interview with Apple Music, he reflected on how difficult it was to navigate the entertainment industry as a teenager. He shared, "It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry, not knowing where to turn. Everyone would say they loved me but could turn their back on me in a second. At the time of the interview, Billie Eilish was just 18, and Justin expressed a protective instinct toward her. "I just want to protect her," he said. "I don't want her to go through anything I went through. I wouldn't wish that on anyone." He also offered her his support, saying he would be there for her whenever she needed help. "If she ever needs me, I'm just a call away," he promised. Justin also confessed about living in this shame, with all this sort of stuff with my past. Could the shame be due to the fact that he's on the tapes that the feds recovered? That would explain the way Justin is acting now. I mean, the signs were always there.
I feel violated right now. Wow.
To me again. You smell amazing. How old are you?
Thank you.
How old are you?
I'm 16. I'll be 17 in like 2 weeks.
I don't ever remember smelling that good at 16. Like I was, that was bad. Wow, look at your eyes. What music are you listening to?
I don't want her to lose it. I don't want her to, go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody.
Would you rather have to be naked on stage during one full song, or drink a cup of blended worms? Answer Justin Bieber.
I have like little girl fans. I can't go.
Okay, I'm not.
No, I got believe. Hey, this is a brand new.
You ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
All right, so I'm gonna be driving this next year.
Yeah, when you get 16, come out, you gotta, wear your seatbelt.
I mean, I'm 15. You can ride in the passenger seat. I got my permit. 16.
Slow down. Let's slow down, Justin.
Okay.
Let's slow down, okay?
One step at a time.
It's hard, but these are the conversations that are going to bring change and bring a level of consciousness to people that can say, I need to really take a look at myself. Where am I at? And if Justin's able to be vulnerable where he's at, then I can do the same thing.
Man, you good? I'm good. How are you?
All right, young brother, everything's good? Selling out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you tried to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But you never really got my number, so.
Right. Okay.
And it's not just Justin Diddy groomed. There are allegations he did it to his own stepson. Watch what Freddie P had to reveal.
How were you so infatuated with a child that wasn't yours? Were you grooming that little boy? I don't even want to start those conversations because that's not your child.
I mean, damn, pause, but like, just I mean, back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother.
Bro, I know. Let me reframe you on something. Scarsdale, New York.
But how did we get here? Where were the signs? Usher and Diddy first connected in 1994, when Usher was just 15. Music producer L.A. Reid, who had signed Usher to his label, arranged for him to live with Diddy in Scarsdale, New York, while he worked on his debut album. Reflecting on that time, Usher told Rolling Stone in 2004 that Diddy introduced him to a very different lifestyle, especially when it came to sex. There were always girls around, Usher said. You'd open a door and see someone having sex, or even walk into a room where multiple people were involved in an orgy. Despite sharing those details, Usher has remained relatively quiet about his experiences living with Diddy and doesn't often discuss their relationship. In a 2016 interview with Howard Stern, Usher acknowledged that life with Diddy was pretty wild, and that there were curious things happening, though he didn't fully understand them at the time.
I moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp?
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't necessarily understand it.
Uh-huh.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil' Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans.
And your parents
Jodeci,
were
Mary
okay?
J. Blige. They didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 a.m. with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
And do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem.
Yeah.
I had like,
What
like
a
a living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
Recently, Usher's name was back in the spotlight after all his posts on X, formerly Twitter, mysteriously disappeared, sparking rumors that it might be connected to Diddy. However, Usher quickly clarified, explaining that his account had been hacked and laughing off the speculation. And there has been a lot of speculation about this move. Former Death Row Records CEO Suge Knight has made bold claims accusing high-ranking executives in the music industry of manipulating Diddy through drugs and alcohol. Knight, who is currently serving a 28-year sentence for manslaughter, alleges that powerful figures introduced Diddy to these substances as a way to control him. He also mentioned Usher and Justin Bieber in his statements.
Yeah. Puffy stepped in this shit, and even if he wiped the shit off his shoe, it still stinks. But he's not the only one. They got all the tapes.
Now, when you talk about the tapes,
but this been going on for a long time.
Hold on, Suge. Help us understand, because a lot of this stuff is a little inside baseball for people, right? Because they don't live the life, they don't know the world, they don't know the players.
Telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
That's just the recording from the prison. That's just saying that they record it, which obviously they do. Suge, help people understand, what tapes are you talking about? Who has them? And what kinds of things do you think they show?
Well, number one, luckily, I wasn't their first choice. Their second choice, I wasn't no choice to be at those freaky parties. But you know what they show. They used to have a thing in the industry, right? And the sad thing about it, I don't like mentioning Usher. I don't like mentioning Justin Bieber. I don't like mentioning 2 meals is way better than the food somebody else is making for you. At least they're going to come hot. They're going to come sealed, and you got to be the one to open them. That's very important.
What about people trying to hurt
go to jail? I mean, one of the things is this. I don't care who you are. Prison and jail is a negative environment. Somebody can do something.
In his conversation with Chris Cuomo, Knight went further, expressing his belief that Diddy might have been a victim of sexual abuse. These allegations come as Diddy faces serious accusations, including sex trafficking, racketeering, and sexual assault in connection with his notorious freak-off parties, which reportedly involved Hollywood A-listers.
All right, now what's most interesting to me is that you seem to see Diddy as kind of an Epstein kind of figure. That Jeffrey Epstein, that a lot of people know what Diddy was about, and they were about the same thing, and that's why they're quiet. That's why J-Lo and Ben Affleck got divorced, because of videos that he has of her that now they know about. Where is this coming from with you? What do you believe about the people around Diddy and what everybody knows?
Well, first of all, you got to start with at the top. You starting with the top. Clyde Davis, Russell Simmons, Andre Arell, Jimmy Iovine. Even if you take Jimmy Iovine, He had an allegation from him, same thing. It went away. You take Jimmy I.V. They told me at Universal and Interscope, they said, you know what? We can't deal with artists that gets in trouble. And your artist gets in trouble, they talk crazy.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Knight also named specific industry veterans, including Clive Davis, Russell Simmons, and Andre Harrell, accusing them of using drugs to control and undermine the manhood of stars like Diddy.
Hey, Suge, thank you for calling back.
Hey, I'd like to say this too real quick. You got a woman that works for you is really incredible. You don't find too many people.
I thought you were about to implicate her in the investigation. I'm just glad you're not implicating Dusty in the investigation, Suge, because I can't take that.
No, she's not in the investigation.
All right,
but what
good.
I want to do for her is, I want to. Hey, look, hey, I got to do this for her, but I want to turn her on to this clothing line called Girls Mondays to Sunday. Girl Monday to Sunday, and I'm definitely gonna look out for her because I buy a lot of for a lot of people from that place. But look, what I was basically trying to say is this: I respect your show and respect what you're doing, but the most important thing is there's got to be a solution, because this has been going on in the industry for a whole bunch of years, for decades. And at the same time, you know, nobody wants this to be true, and it shouldn't have to be true. But if we don't fix it and do something about it, history will constantly
repeat itself. Now, Suge, you said something early on that I want to get clarification for the audience, Suge. You said early on, you can't just look at Diddy in isolation. You said this was done to him. He learned from others, and it was done to him, and then he did to others. To me, that sounds like what I hear when people are talking about abusive situations, you know, hurt people, that someone was sexually abused, they wind up being a perpetrator. Is that what you're suggesting about Sean Combs, that he was sexually abused and he now sexually abuses?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think he repeat what was done to him. And like I said, if you look at Russell Simmons, you know the truth. Andre Harrell, you know the truth. Clive Davis, you know the truth.
While Clive Davis has never faced accusations of sexual misconduct, he has been a vocal supporter of Diddy, even during the high-profile rape lawsuit filed by Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. Russell Simmons, on the other hand, has been entangled in his own controversies, with several women accusing him of sexual assault, allegations he has repeatedly denied. As for Andre Harrell, who was Diddy's mentor, he was never charged with any sex crimes but passed away in 2020. And the most interesting part is, Andre actually fired Diddy at one point in his life, and this was the shocking reason why.
You discovered Mary J. Blige, you discovered Jodeci, you discovered Sean Combs, you made him your A&R man at Uptown. You fired him, which is fascinating because you kept this relationship and you worked with him for many years.
When I fired him, it was like I had an artist in the building, right? Because Puff, as an executive, he really is a very artistic guy. He can make videos, he can style. So I started to branch out in the movies and the television. So then Puff wouldn't really listen to anybody but me. So my full-time job became managing Puff. And I was doing other things. So even when I let Puff go, for the whole time he was let go, he was always on payroll. I never stopped paying him until he found his next spot. His artists were always still getting per diem. Because I didn't do it to hurt him, but I knew it was time for him to grow. And the only way he could grow was if he was going to have the same kind of corporate conversations that I was subjected to. And then he would understand what he could and could not do. And the final straw for me was when MCA wanted me to not put out the Biggie Smalls album because they didn't like the subject matter, and they wanted me to tell him he's got to change his tone. And it wasn't up to me, I felt, to tell a generation what they could and could not do artistically. So I knew it wasn't going to work because he was coming from a new space and a new era. The Dr. Dre Chronic album that came out, and that was a major influence over music. So
I go through spells of being distant and withdrawn, that it's sometimes so hard to leave my house. The trauma of the assault has taken a toll on my mental health. I've had PTSD, depression, and anxiety. I'm emotionally scarred. It has been hard for me to trust others, to form healthy relationships, or even feel safe in my own skin. Flashbacks, nightmares, and intrusive thoughts make me feel like it's a constant struggle.
According to the lawsuit, Graves, who was 25 at the time and in a relationship with one of Diddy's employees, was lured into a meeting with Diddy and his bodyguard, Joseph Big Joe Sherman, under the guise of discussing her boyfriend's job. In her legal complaint, Graves claims that during the car ride to the meeting, she was offered a drink that she believes was drugged, causing her to temporarily lose consciousness. The 26-page lawsuit, submitted to a federal court in Manhattan, alleges that Diddy and Sherman picked her up from her mother's house in Queens, claiming they wanted to talk about her boyfriend's position at Bad Boy Records. She says that after consuming a glass of wine provided by Diddy, she felt physically incapacitated and unable to leave the car. Graves alleges that Diddy then took her to a private area within the studio, where she lost consciousness. When she regained awareness, she claims she was unclothed, with her hands bound behind her, and that despite her pleas for help, Diddy sexually assaulted and raped her multiple times. The lawsuit states that both men were unmoved by the plaintiff's cries for help throughout the incident. Graves asserts that she has never fully recovered from the traumatic experience and has required significant psychological treatment. She continues to struggle with severe depression, anxiety, and panic attacks. She also claims that she didn't report the assault out of fear, as both Diddy and Sherman allegedly, explicitly, and repeatedly threatened to ruin her life if she spoke out. In the suit, she reveals that around November 27, 2023, she discovered that the assault had been recorded and that Diddy and Sherman had shared the footage with several men. This realization, she says, pushed her to the brink of contemplating. That is horrifying. And it certainly seems like Diddy is getting what he deserves right now with where he's being detained.
Diddy Combs has been denied bail in connection with the sexual abuse and sex trafficking charges he faces. And as Les Trent reports, the music mogul who once traveled by private jet to all those mansions is now in a jail that is notorious for its bad living conditions.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs spent his first night behind bars inside a facility that is being called Hell on Earth. The Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn is notorious for its appalling living conditions and rampant violence. How bad is it inside this federal lockup? There have been 2 murders, 4 suicides, and numerous stabbings and lockdowns in recent years. It's so out of control inside that 4 federal judges are reportedly refusing to send any more prisoners here. Donald Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, spent a harrowing year in federal custody. He says for someone used to a life of luxury like Diddy, prison life is a severe shock.
You have a desk, you have a plastic chair, you have your bed with a 1.5-inch mattress, no pillow, and you also have a locker. So you basically have 3 feet by 5 feet to move around. So you have a basic 15 square feet. It is a horrible, horrible place.
Diddy's lawyers were so eager to keep him out of jail, they offered his palatial $48 million home in Miami Beach and his private jets as bail. Today, they are even offering to restrict female visitors to his homes, except for his mother, daughters, and the mothers of his children if he is released. They told the judge the jail he was being sent to is dreadful, dirty, inhuman, and an ongoing tragedy. How's your dad doing? How's your dad doing? Family members appeared somber as they arrived at...
Typically, U.S. District Judge Gary J. Brown would have sentenced a man convicted of tax fraud to the local federal jail. However, he hesitated due to one key factor: the dangerous, barbaric conditions that have existed for some time at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. The Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, notorious for its harsh conditions, is back in the spotlight with its latest high-profile detainee. Last week, a New York judge ordered Diddy to be held at MDC after he was charged with sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation. The comments.